Okay, so warm up. You've got 2 to 3 minutes to do the warm up. I'm going to go ahead and move on to the homework, so the substitute can hit pause right now and give you guys 2 to 3 minutes to finish the warm up, and then as soon as you guys are done with that, we're going to move on to the homework. Okay, so here are the answers to lesson 9.2 homework. Okay, and you guys did the whole thing. So grade right now, hold your questions to the end. And please, guys, especially since this video is going to be played for another class, if you have a question about how you wrote your answer or something like that, please ask, because I'm sure that other class is going to have the same question so that I can answer it. While you guys are grading, I'm going to go ahead and go around and pass out the notes for today, because as soon as we're finished with the homework, we're going to immediately go into the notes so that we can get those finished. And you'll definitely need a calculator for today's lesson. Okay, so this lesson we didn't necessarily need a calculator for, but today's lesson, you can fly through it with a calculator. It would take you hours if you don't. When you're done grading, go ahead and put your red pen down so that I know you're done. And when everybody's done, I'll answer any questions. If you didn't put like units or miles an hour or whatever seconds, that's fine. I'm just kind of looking for the did you get the simplified version of the answer?
I remember when I actually forgot to write it.
You forgot to what?
On number 11, all I did was forget to write it.
It's wrong.
What time do we get in?
I think 11:30. Oh, for like.
Yeah.
I think 11:30. 11:35. Yes.
On 9, wouldn't it be 3 times squared 5 over 4?
I'll have to look. What was the original problem?
The square root of 45 over 44.
The square root of what?
45 over 44.
Well, then it reduces.
Yeah,
Because the square root of 144 is 12, and then 3 can be divided by 3 and 12 can be reduced.
we have to do 20.
Y'all just did through 19.
No. If you put that like variable in the wrong place, like if you put it in instead of like on the end, if you put it all together, that makes sense.
Where? Which one?
Like number 17, I put 10x instead of.
Nope, that's wrong. Completely, it would give you, if you knew the value of x, it'd give you a completely different answer. Yes.
And on 15, I got 10k instead of 20.
Then it would be wrong. Yes, question. Go ahead. Number 11, what if you did what?
With the p's after.
Oh, that's okay. Yes.
So on number 15, on that, like, I didn't split it up and then put the square root and just keep it at 6. Like I had it at 600.
That would be wrong. All right, so make sure right now, here's what we're going to do, because I'm not going to be here to collect and grade everybody's homework. Well, I guess I'm going to go ahead and take it up. So, go ahead. Yeah, go ahead and take them up. Make sure you write minus, time, and commits to the top. I may not get them graded in the grade book today. I'm going to meet to the notes. So you've got your notes already on your desk. Okay. I think, if I am remembering correct, if I remember correctly, you guys, we have gone over this last year, or at least you've been introduced to this last year. Okay. You will continue using this all the way through high school math, especially geometry. There are geometry students right now that are using this. So, again, it's a simple formula, a very, very simple formula. And as long as you can memorize the formula, you should have it down. What makes it algebra is the formula is an equation, and depending on what information we have, we may work forwards or we may work backwards. Okay, so the hypotenuse, this applies to a right triangle. Okay, so this applies to a right triangle. And I'm going to abbreviate here. The hypotenuse is always the side opposite of the right angle. So if you look down here, find the right angle and draw an arrow across it, and that's always the hypotenuse in a right angle, okay? And the legs, they are the sides that form the right angle. Okay. So here is where the right angle is. The two sides touching that are the legs. The side opposite is always the hypotenuse. And that's going to be something that you need to know for the rest of the chapter too. Okay, as we move along with this chapter. So here's the Pythagorean Theorem. Here's how you do the whole lesson. And some of you guys may have heard this before. I think we kind of talked about it last year. A squared plus B squared equals C squared. Now, in the formula, it doesn't matter which one is A and B. Okay? You could make this one A and you could make this one B. What does always matter is that C, the letter C, the variable C, will always be referred to as the hypotenuse. So it doesn't matter which one you label A and B, but it does matter which one you label C. Okay, so the first example is just working forwards. Okay, this is for when we know the lengths of two of the sides of the triangle, and we're trying to find the third length. Okay, so right here we have a building's access ramp, like a loading dock or even like a wheelchair ramp maybe. It says it has a vertical or horizontal distance of 24 feet and a vertical distance of 2 feet. Find the length of the ramp to the nearest tenth of a foot. Okay, so if you were putting this together, you would technically have three pieces. You would have the base, and you would have the height, but you would also have to have this third piece right there. And it's not going to be the length of either one of these. It's going to be its own length. Okay, so this is how you would use that. Okay, so we're going to take A squared plus B squared equals C squared. Now, does it matter which one is A and which one is B? No. C squared means we're trying to find the hypotenuse. We're trying to find this length right here, which they didn't draw it, but there's your little right angle. The side opposite is the hypotenuse. Okay, so squared and 100's being added to it. So now I'm working backwards. So what am I going to undo first?
The 200.
225
100. You just subtract 100 from 100.
I've got to subtract 100 from both sides, right, to get my variable by itself. So what's 225 minus 100?
125.
125. Now am I done? No, because I got to take the square root. So on your calculator, you would find the square root of 125, which is 11.18. Okay, and I can write it as 11.18. Now the other way to do it in your notes, I actually missed this. It says write it in simplest form. So there's your exact answer, but your notes just asked us to write it in simplest form. So simplest form is like this, what we did on the last lesson. Okay, what is a perfect square that goes into 125? 25. So the square root of 25 times what? The square root of 6. The square root of 25 simplifies down. No, it's 5, not 6. Yeah. Okay, so the square root of 25 is 5, and then I cannot simplify the square root of 5. So that's actually how they wanted you to write the answer. Just pay attention to the directions, unlike what I just did. Okay, so if the directions tell you to write it in simplest form, 625 equals 625? Yes. So then this would be yes, it is a right triangle. So the last two are the same thing. Check yourself. Plug it into the formula and it either balances or it doesn't. Check your work with mine.
So you can't just put yes or no?
I want you to go ahead and say right triangle versus not triangle, because by saying yes or no, it almost sounds like you're saying yes, this is a triangle, no, it's not. They're triangles. It's just do they make a right triangle? So the right triangle is